Hi everyone, it's Laura here from Hyperstamper, and I'm going to show you another journal walkthrough, and this is a really special one. Of course, I didn't find that out until after I found this great book and gutted the pages so that I could reuse them and use the cover as a junk journal. This one is written by Lowell Thomas, called Pageant of Adventure. And just to show you why this was a special book is after I ripped up the pages, I noticed that it was autographed by Lowell Thomas in the probably the 1940s, early 50s. Lowell Thomas was an American author and CBS news person and contributor. So yeah, the owner of this very special journal is going to have his autographed second edition book, Pageant of Adventure. I loved the cover of this when I got it. And I just added some vintage doilies and a vintage button here to go with the navy blue lettering and imagery. So let's just do a little tour of the book. Okay, let's jump right in here. This is from a library. So you can see the library stamps and the library card here on the first pages of the original book, which I kept in. Added some more doily here. I made this little tuck pocket out of a vintage doily, and I also used it's kind of my signature inside spine texture. There's the netting and the original thread and glued pages for the signatures here, which I just think is beautiful in every book I tear apart. This is a page from 1920 Emerald Isle, and this particular page is called The English Immigrant, and it is a lovely poem. And no, I did not age this. It's perfectly aged all on its own, but there's lots of space here to journal on or just keep as a little piece of important history. And a 1926 blank piece of ledger page, so lots of space there to journal on as well. I put a little bangle here as well. You can remove that. Use it. I did tea dye 4 full pages that are folded in half throughout this journal, one in each signature, so you do have some really sturdy spaces to journal on top of the antique paper, and everything else is antique and vintage authentic. I don't use any printed copies or replicas or kits. Commercial papers. Inside this little glassine envelope, I've tucked away some vintage stamps because it is a stamp collector's envelope, and they're really pretty. Some 1930s Monopoly money from one of the original Monopoly games. A tag here that I also made out of that inside binding. A vintage, very old actually, playing card. Lucky number 7. And I made a little book here for extra journaling space of my scrap papers. Look how beautiful this is. I mean, this one here is from 1894. We've got a 1945 dictionary page, a vintage flower book, just all kinds of fun stuff there. So that's more space for you to journal in. This is from a 1920s book, Mrs. Cottle's Curtain Lectures, which was a journal. It might still be for sale on my Etsy page as of June 2023. 1926 ledger page, and this is a wonderful page from the Magic Garden. But the images from this book were just beautiful. That's why I inserted them. And one of my favorites in this book is this 1950s Betty Crocker recipe book, full page spread, and this is the first page of the cake section. So the first page of every section in the cookbook was full color, the rest wasn't. So this is really special, and it's making me hungry. Another wonderful butterfly image on the Magic Garden page, which is one of my favorite things. This 1890s fifth reader school book page with this lovely illustration of a little girl doing her needlepoint was very brittle, so I adhered it onto another antique book page to give it some strength and longevity. And I hope the new owner enjoys that, because to me that was a very special image. I hand stamped some of my own tea-dyed papers. And then here, this is a little hidden paper clip. So you can reuse that and put it anywhere in your journal you'd like. And on the front of this is a tag that I made out of a vintage sewing pattern. And then I made a little cluster strip here, a 1940s dictionary page with some lace. And on the other side are 2 pockets. Let's just take a look at them. I have here an antique book page with lots of journaling space on the other side, and beautifully aged. And then here as well is another one of my signature texture piece clusters here, and this 1910 scrapbook page that I got, that I found blank. It's very brittle, but it's fantastic. So use it, just be careful. If it breaks, just tuck it back in. Here we go. I added a nice vintage 1960s doily in here that I acquired. And this is from a school book, a history book. And I made this tag here out of a children's book, The New Duckling. And you can do all your journaling on the back there. I made this lovely pocket with some birch bark on there and some fabric I pulled off of an old piece of luggage. Oh dear, I'll use anything old. This is from the 1893 edition of Demarest's Family Magazine. Look at these wonderful images. And it's just a wonderful little piece of history advertising women's fashion of the year. So lucky duck who gets to keep that. Oh, no pun intended. God, I'm hot today. Okay, here's another one of these wonderful images. That's the Alps. And then this is a 1920s Gateways to Bookland. I believe it's from the 20s, from Grimm's Fairy Tale here. Lovely image, Snow White. And you can journal on the back of this lovely, lovely full page spread of an English garden. Look how gorgeous that is. I absolutely love it. I hope you do too. There's the flip side to that Snow White page. And another history page here. Look at these lovely images. And again, all this white space, journal on it. Journal everywhere. Or tape your own photos and pages onto it. Sorry, let me get back into camera here. Another vintage stamp up here. And this wonderful 1940s, 1950s university yearbook. There's an old basketball team. Well, they weren't out at the time. I'm pretty old now. And there's the hockey team. And being a Canadian, it was hard to get rid of that one. But I wanted it to live in this journal. Let's see here. We've got a 1920s or 30s music sheet and a craft book magazine page, vintage. Here is the London News edition, 1950s. And this is great. This is from 1949. It's a Boy Scout document, let's call it, on sort of instructions and a daily agenda for their camping trip. Now, this was the carbon copy. For those of you who don't know what a carbon copy is, it was a sheet of inked paper that they would type on the original, and it would make copies of 3 or 4 behind it. So this poor person would have to type this all out with carbon copies and then do it all over again. I made this little teeny tiny envelope here with a little magazine photo in it from the 50s. And again, this is a 1955 illustrated London News, I believe. Look at this, it's a real flying saucer. It just cracks me up. Here is a wonderful leather purse image from a craft book again, how to make that. And this is about 120 years old, this book page, a little bit brittle, but that's okay because it houses this lovely book page, antique book page tag that I made with a tea bag here and more pattern. And this is just another blank antique page that I was able to find. It's hard to find the blank ones, so I try to put as many as I can into each journal as I have them. A little cluster I made here, and you can remove that and put it anywhere you like, or in your next journal, keychain. This is so fun. This is a theater arts magazine from the 50s, and look at these awesome theater people. Isn't that terrific? I just in love with those. I got a few of them, so I use them as often as I can. 1940s dictionary page, another craft magazine. Here's a pocket I made out of a 1934, I'm trying to read the Roman numerals there, 1934 music sheet. And again, these are antique page bits that I tucked back in. And this wonderful, wonderful 1950s magazine page here. Look at how wonderful this is. How to make your man ties and Western outfits. And look at this. Oh my God. How awesome is that? And again, you can journal all over this or just have it because it's absolutely fantastic. I love it. Oh, I made this one out of a craft book for children. So a great tag. And the dictionary piece here has a godlike, godmother, godparent, godsend, godspeed. I love it. Isn't that beautiful? And this is from an old souvenir photo book from Armadale. I got a page out of that. I'll tuck that back into there. And this lovely, lovely page from a children's school book, A Sunny Face. Look at the colors are still so vibrant. That just makes me so happy. And that's from the early 20s. The Heart's Desire page is from the Turn the Century book. Another craft page, that's the flip side. And then again, another wonderful dictionary page with the alpaca on one side and little flowers and an alligator on the other. And here's another tea bag envelope I made. I just tucked in a few teeny tiny little antique paper bits. Hand stamped my maple leaf. And again, that's from a theater arts book. This is an old antique page as well with more 1920s ledger pages tucked in it for you to journal on. And I made more pockets out of antique books here. So there's a quarter fold there and another half fold here. And at the very end, I've kept in the original library card pocket with another antique book page. It's actually a poem that I've tucked into there. Isn't that lovely? The Song of Wandering Angus, The Song of the Old Mother, The Fiddler of Dooney. And yeah, you can journal on that as well. So I hope you'll visit my Etsy page. There's a lot going on here. Again, Hyperstamper, and I hope you check out my other journals. Bye for now.